We went to go see a mystery movie.
Everybody went this time.
Everybody. All four of us.
I liked it.
And we saw the new Dracula, a Love Tale movie, which if you look it up, it might just be titled as just Dracula or just Dracula 2025, which is confusing because it comes out officially today.
It actually came out somewhere prior to this because there's reviews everywhere. So I don't know if it came out in like Europe or something prior.
Probably.
Oh, okay.
But there's tons of reviews online prior.
So it's
to
the US released?
So everything when I look it up for details and things like that, when I was researching, it says Dracula, a Love Tale.
Dracula. And it just says Dracula.
Okay.
2025.
We're living in the past. We're talking about Stranger Things and Dracula from last year.
Right. Matt, you had the big synopsis, so I'll let you lead, but I'm sure we'll jump in.
I'd love to
I also took notes.
Go into these movies with an open mind and be disappointed.
Mystery movies.
I will say that going to this mystery movie, it was not an A24 movie, which surprised me because there's 2 coming out this month, and I thought it would be one of the 2. I did look it up, and Pillion, which actually comes out this week, is not showing anywhere. So I was kind of surprised, but nowhere locally actually has it.
Oh, wow.
So I'm guessing that's why we didn't get that as a show. So, so Dracula, basically, when everybody talks about Dracula, everybody refers back to Bram Stoker's Dracula. And then take that, mix in Love Potion number 9, the Disney Hunchback of Notre Dame, and dashing in some Dracula with that. You got this movie. The only thing in this Dracula movie has fangs and he's internal. The magic is the equivalent of using the Force to open doors and push bowls. Other than that, he did nothing special. So this movie opens with some weird softcore porn. Like, it just was off-putting. It didn't make any sense. It didn't advance the plot.
Well, so I think the first thing, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but it was like right away the biggest foreshadowing. The first thing he does in that scene is he just like bites her neck. Yeah. And I was like, oh, it's a Dracula movie, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. You couldn't have saved that for like not the first 5 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, he literally just tilts her head over.
But it was definitely sex in the first scene.
Yeah, and it was like, it was off-putting. It was like supposed to be like very, very playful and things like that, but it was just kind of weird the way they were doing it.
They were like
they didn't
obsessed.
talk. They didn't talk for like the first 5 minutes of this movie. They grunted and like played games and like hit each other with pillows.
Shot a
gun into a pillow.
Yeah.
It didn't
stop
make
making out.
Yeah, and it was aggressive. Like, but you know, I mean, and I get it. So they had a sexual affection toward each other. That did not make me think that these two were like the soulmates that they made it out to be. It seemed like they were severely in the honeymoon phase, but you know, I guess that was supposed to be the point. So nobody talks until these 3 guys come into the room while they're having sex and basically pull him away. And they're suiting him up with armor and telling him that it's time to go to battle, that the enemy's on the battlefield, and they have to pull him away from her like 3 times while they're dressing him. And then like 10 seconds later, she comes down the stairs in this full-on giant dress with a veil and everything, and her makeup's done and her hair is perfectly done and stuff like that. But it was like literally like immediately.
Yep.
So he goes down to get blessed before they're going to go to battle. And the priest that's down there says his little prayer, and he looks up to the priest and he goes, you know, all I want you to do is make sure that my wife is safe. And he was like, you know, I'll put it in God's ear, basically is what the priest says. And he's like, no, you don't understand. He's like, you tell him. And then he goes off to battle. And for some reason, his wife leaves the castle with 3 guards to go somewhere else. But the enemy's surrounding the castle and is in the area. So you're going to send her off. And I mean, she's in this gigantic fucking dress that covers the entire horse, and her veil is like dragging in the mud. Did you guys catch that?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, like her veil is like ridiculously long, dragging in the mud.
Why didn't they like, you know, have her go like incognito and put her in some armor?
Yeah.
Or something. We got to point
the
her
question.
Something
with her dress.
other than march them right through the enemy line with
They're just hiding in trees.
one guy that was dressed in armor and then two like little like side character knights.
There were dumber characters in Game of Thrones who had many more guys.
Yeah.
So it's like, let's give her 3.
So of course, she dies. And it was like this, they run through this field full of snow and there's like all these bear traps all over it and the horse gets taken down and then 3 guys come up on her and then, he finds out he goes through this really cool battle and he shows up on this like hillside, like with all these flames behind him and stuff like that, and the imagery was like really cool. He was like going to overtake the
enemy.
The enemy. Well, I'm trying to think of what they were, what ethnicity they were. So he was going to overtake them from the hillside, and then he finds out his wife is. He finds out in the middle of battle that his wife is in danger, and he just like it's nighttime when he's standing on this hillside, and there's all kinds of flames and stuff over him, and he takes off, and the next thing you know, he's in this field right behind her, in the middle of the day.
I think that was to demonstrate how deep his love was for her, that he would find her anywhere.
But
that's great, but he just showed up in the middle of the day. Like it was
I
dead
agree
ass
with you, I'm
night
just saying.
in the middle of this battle, and he's just all of a sudden there in the day. Like so the timeline made zero fucking sense.
But his armor, he had the dragon
Yeah, it was cool
full
armor.
on mask. Yeah. So
It claws and
whatever,
everything.
whatever they were, they were the dragons, because then they showed it later on a sign by the castle. There's a dragon symbol on it.
Yeah.
But like in that line of fire, all the enemies' heads were on sticks.
Yeah,
So
that's
that
what I'm
looked
saying.
cool
It was cool. It
with
was
the
like an
line of
intimidating,
fire.
like really cool scene. And then you're just like, your wife's in danger. It's like, oh shit. Just runs off the hill in the middle of battle and goes and gets on a horse
Daytime
and
snow.
runs to daytime snow. It's like, so he shows up and like, she's about to get stabbed and he like takes out the other 2 guys and picks up the sword and throws the sword like 15 feet and it goes right through the guy and the guy stabs his wife at the same time. So then
was it that or did the
Okay,
sword
I
go
thought-
through him and
Same.
hit
Yeah.
her?
Okay,
No,
so
he didn't.
that's
Same
what I
thing.
thought too.
That's what it looked
I
like.
thought
I
he
thought so
killed
too.
her as well.
Same.
No?
But we
I
looked it up
up.
later.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
I
it
just
was
assumed.
a little bit deceiving the way
Well-
that they.
it was supposed to be like a simultaneous thing. That was the
Yeah.
dramatic effect. Like he just didn't save her.
Let's
Oh.
also not forget, like, why were there bear traps everywhere?
Yeah, I
For
thought
the
What was
enemies.
that?
For the enemies.
Which one of the enemies put it there? Like, did they put it there or did the other people put it there?
Because
And
it screwed them both.
yeah, because everybody
Yeah.
was running through the
I
bear
don't
trap. So is
know.
there a third party that we don't know about?
Maybe
It's like,
maybe she wasn't supposed to be there. Like she wasn't supposed to be running through that field.
yeah, that probably
That's
would have
my
been smart.
guess. But she doesn't know. She's just a princess.
But neither did they.
nobody's supposed to be in that field.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They were just supposed
So-
to leave it alone.
Anyway, she dies.
Yeah, so she dies, and then he goes back to the priest, and he tells the priest that the priest is an asshole because he didn't pray hard enough, and his wife died, and then he all of a sudden has superhuman strength and like picks this like 240-pound guy up by his neck, and he's not a very big guy himself. Just picks him up and strangles him to death, and then like kills him right there in the church. And the other 3
Well,
guys
he-
look at him like he's a heretic, and they're like, "Oh gosh, what are you doing?"
Staked him with a cross, didn't he?
yeah.
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 I mean, after he picked him up off the ground by his neck and slammed him into the table, but
Okay.
so
400 years later.
yeah, well, so they drag him away from the altar and like lightning crashes, and everybody's like, "Ooh, it's a sign." And then the next thing you know, it is like 400 years later, and so okay,
What era does it jump to? Is it supposed to be like the 1800s?
it's the 1800s.
Okay.
Yeah, so it jumps from the 1400s to the 1800s. So it jumps to the 1800s, and now we're in a hospital. We're in I want to say it's a mental asylum from the way, the looks of it, the way
Right.
everybody's acting in the hallways and stuff like that. So, Christopher Waltz character shows up, and he's a priest, and he's drinking in a church. And the doctor comes and gets him and takes him, and this is where we meet Maria. So Maria is if you follow Bram Stoker's Dracula, and then she's Lucy.
Mm-hmm.
So Lucy is the character that is usually this person in the other tellings of this. So Maria is held hostage. She's chained down to the ground, and Christopher Waltz walks in and acts like he has zero reaction to the fact that this woman's a vampire. And he basically just narrates the whole thing to death about, you know, all the different ways to tell that she's a vampire. And he like walks over and he opens he explains why they can walk in daylight, but direct sunlight hurts them. And he opens up like a little opening in the wall, and one ray of sunlight comes in and that hurts her, but the sunlight from above doesn't. And then
it was overcast.
Yeah. Okay. So somehow there was no mirror or anything there, but that's a direct ray of sunlight that was focused into her from the open door thing. So the doctor goes over and closes it, and he goes and grabs a wooden cross out of his basket. He holds it up to her. She goes, and it turns into flames. And he's like, see, that's good enough. And he just puts it out, and he's like telling the whole story basically of how
I liked the part where he said vampires are allergic to God's representatives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the way they explained it, like he even said, like, you know, what was it, a hemophiliac or something like that, or something like, you know, something basically like they feed off of hemoglobin was like the thing, but the German church or whatever he's from has an explanation for it. And he explains why he's outcast from the main part of the Catholic Church. And he explains this and explains that. And he's completely dead-faced monotone the entire time.
Yeah.
Like no emotion, no nothing, just like telling you a story. And it's just like, okay, well, this is
when he says it's beyond science and understanding.
Yeah. So while they're looking her over, and she says that you'll find out soon, basically like her master is coming. And he's like, oh, he's coming here. They get a knock on the door, and they're like, I'm sorry. He did tell the whole story about how Dracula's looking for his lost love and, you know, all this. So they know everything about the guy, but they don't know where he's at and, you know, whatever. So they don't know two key things apparently to the Dracula story. So he says the church has been hunting him for 400 years. He's been doing it for 30 plus years. And then they go right into, you meet Mina. So Mina just happens to, of course, walk right into the hospital, and she's identical to the person in the book that Maria has, that basically has a picture of her and a picture of Dracula, which I don't know why she's carrying around Bram Stoker's Dracula, you know, and they're showing these things. It's not like a journal. It's like a printed picture of both of them that the church has somehow never seen. And she has this book, which they didn't really explain that at all. So whatever. But Mina's there, and they immediately recognize her as who Dracula is going to be coming for. And they, without telling her, they're like, you know, oh, well, you know, it's great that you're here, and we'll let you know how Maria, your new friend, is, and this and that. So now they flash to a guy that's on a horse and carriage, and he's going to Dracula's castle, basically. And this guy pulls up in the carriage, and he says, we don't go any closer than this. You have to continue by foot. And the guy goes up a trail and walks toward the castle. The gate magically opens and then shuts right behind him, and he goes in, and he's greeted by Count Vlad the second, who is Dracula. Now, I just want you to keep in mind, this is 2,129 kilometers away.
It's pretty far.
So in this day and age of, you know, the 1800s, there's no easy way to cross the countryside. So this is, you know, quite the trip for him to get all the way out there. And that comes into play later in the movie for something that doesn't make any sense at all. So this is where they introduce the gargoyles from the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Because apparently Dracula has these cartoonish gargoyles that do his bidding and stuff like that. But so he goes in, he meets Dracula. Dracula pushes a bowl to him and opens a couple of doors without, you know, using his hands. And this guy's just like, oh, this is really different.
Nice trick.
And Dracula's like, now it's time to go to bed. Don't leave your room. And he's like, okay. And then the lead into that, he asked Dracula about this, was a phonograph that was sitting there.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I've always wanted to see one of those and stuff like that. And Dracula's like, oh yeah, some other time. And he's like, okay, you know, go to bed. So immediately after he goes into his room and Dracula tells him again to stay in his room, Dracula goes down and turns on the phonograph.
Yep.
And then
almost the taunt
goes down to his crypt. So of course, 5 minutes later, this guy comes out of his room and he's walking through the castle. And he goes to the phonograph, and then he stumbles on the tunnel down to Dracula's crypt. And he goes down to the crypt, and Dracula's like, I told you not to leave your room. And So he's now a prisoner, and the gargoyles are like holding him down, and he's like, I'll give you your one chance to tell your story or whatever, or to say your last wish. And he was like, no, I want to hear about you. You tell me your story. So Dracula goes into this huge spiel about how, like 150 years ago, he creates love potion number 9, and it's all to make everyone fall in love with him so that his wife's reincarnation of her soul will find him. So it's like this whole thing. He goes through like how he learns chemistry and he becomes a chemist and he tries all these things and he comes out with the perfect love potion number 9 that makes this perfume that makes everybody attracted to him.
Yep.
So that is their molehill that they're going to die on, that this is different from the other Dracula movies because, Dracula always just had that ability. He was just always enticing to women and stuff like that. These people were automatically drawn to his character and his power. Nope, he has a magic potion that does it this time.
Another missed opportunity. They could have did a whole brand deal with some company.
Yeah, Chanel or something,
They may
since
still,
it was in Paris, I could have done something like that.
Okay, but only if they put it on the same way that Dracula does.
Oh, yeah. So. And it's like so over dramatic when he does it too. And it's even better when he's old and he does it. So that was phenomenal. Yeah. So he goes into this party in Paris and he's got this perfume on and everybody's attracted to him and he bites everybody in the party and he turns them into his minions. And all these minions are going to go out and search the world and find his lost love. And then he just like, well, I went home and I just sat there and waited for 130 years while my minions went out and tried to search. And then the guy's like, oh, well, true love. He was like, I know about true love. And he was like, look at my locket. And he was like, I'm getting married too. So you should let me go because you're a fan of true love. And Dracula looks at the locket. And then of course it's Mina, who's his reincarnated wife's, doppelganger. And,
which I was looking at Luke. I was like, are they saying Mina? Because that's my daughter's name.
Yeah.
Mina Marie. And I was like, okay, this is weird.
So, of course, it's her, and he rips the locket away, and he's so rejuvenated, man. So this 130-year-old guy goes running up the stairs, and he gets into the dining room where every film or every scene in this fucking house is filmed, and he starts yelling, and he's like, I need blood. I need all the blood. Bring me all the blood. And all the gargoyles are like moving around. He's like, get my horses ready. Well, they never bring him any blood. The next scene they show is like he's
Nuns.
crept outside of a convent and he knocks on the door and this nun comes and he's like, oh, take me in. I need food and I'm tired and stuff like that. And she brings him in and he just starts splashing love potion number 9 all over the place.
I feel like this was the funniest part of the movie for me.
All around him. And every time he moves his hand out like this, these 3 nuns come magically floating in. And he flashes it this way and 3 nuns come from this way.
My favorite part was how they were like, oh.
Yeah. Oh. Because he splashed the potion. It's like, so they form a nun tower.
Yeah.
They really did.
They literally form a nun tower.
Part, the nun tower.
There's like 5 nuns, 4 nuns, 3 nuns, and then the really attractive, cute nun climbs the tower, and of course he bites her, and then he throws his head back, and she throws her head back, and his face is covered with blood, and then they just flash.
And
then
this is my favorite scene. End scene, flash to him looking dead like Willy Wonka.
Oh yeah,
that's true.
A very ugly Willy Wonka. This dude is not attractive. Like normally Dracula is like an attractive
Sexy
guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this guy is not attractive at all. Like he looks like the Joker with the scars, but that's his actual mouth. Like that's how wide his mouth is on his face. Like, oh, I was just like, man, this is something else. So, all right, after the nun tower,
I do have to say, it's actually really funny when you watch the nun tower scene because all of a sudden, like, it's just like he's at the top, but like we're talking like people high.
Yeah.
It's like 3 sections of people high.
Like
yeah.
These nuns are ripped.
Yeah. Except for the main nun that let him in, she's fighting it and she's just sitting in the corner going, no.
He's taking all her nuns.
Yeah, but she's not affected by the magic potion.
Yeah, that's
she's
impressive
got
too.
the antidote though.
She's
Love
worried
potion
about
number
the
9.
soup. Let me backtrack for a second.
Okay.
Where the lawyer, he was like, "Tell me your story." He said, "I'm dying to know all about you."
Yeah.
'Cause Dracula was
Dracula's
like about to kill him.
you're funny.
I thought that was
But
hilarious.
bump. All right, so they pan to the next scene is like the shadow of him walking through the hospital. Or I'm sorry, no, they showed him getting put into the carriage, like the gypsy carriage, and then they drove away from the convent, and then they show one scene of it in France. So now he's traveled 2,197 miles and he's in Paris, like on the back of this carriage. So they show him in the hospital, like just basically the silhouette of him at first, like walking through the hospital, and he magically opens the door where Maria's being held. And she's like, "Master, you're here," and stuff like that. And then basically he feeds her some young boy, and then they leave. And that's the end of that scene. And it flashes back to the attorney. He is in the castle and he decides to make a like sheet rope, which always works out so well, especially since he's
out
got
of a
like
castle,
what's that?
especially the
Yeah,
ropes
down
out of
the
a
whole
castle.
side of a castle. Like we're talking like, a good 40, 50 feet. Of course, he doesn't make it anywhere near the bottom. And the gargoyles are coming out these little windows and trying to get
Scratching at him.
One of them throws a fucking hook, like a grappling hook,
Yeah.
and like hooks his leg and yanks at him, and he just goes completely sideways and goes like 3 stories down, like face onto the side of the hill, and then rolls onto the ice. So there's like a big frozen lake behind the castle, and apparently the gargoyles weigh like 400 or 500 pounds or something, because they step on the ice and immediately it starts to crack. But he gets up and just walks all the way across the lake.
Yep.
Like no problem. He just gets up and walks across it. So the gargoyles can't follow him because apparently they're too heavy.
How convenient.
Yeah. So that's the end of that scene right there. It was a little cheesy, but whatever.
Then he walked all the way back.
Yeah, well, I haven't told you how he walked 2,197 miles yet. So, so he is back, and Maria comes up to Mina's door and rings the doorbell, and she's like, "Hey, I'm better. They let me out, and we're gonna, my friend I was telling you about, you're gonna meet him. Come on, let's go." And she's like, "Plus, I promised you hot chocolate." So
The hot chocolate never made any fucking sense.
no, it never placed whatsoever, because she's like, "This place has the best hot chocolate. Let's go to the carnival."
It's not even cold.
It's
It should have been
Go to the
tea
carnival
or
where they have the
cider.
best hot chocolate.
Something.
Or it could have been cotton candy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. So they go to this like really fancy like restaurant, and they meet Dracula, and he's super freaking awkward. And
Willy Wonka.
hi, yeah, he's like, "You look like my dead wife."
Elizabeth.
And immediately,
Elizabeth.
he goes into that, and she's like, "Oh, okay." And Maria's like, "Come on, let's go. We're going to the carnival." And he just like stalks them through the carnival,
Hi.
like just very creepily walks behind them. Every time they turn around, he's like,
I'm still here.
Oh, wait. Now it all makes sense. If he's actually Willy Wonka, that's why there's a chocolate reference.
"Oh, yeah." So he follows them through this creepy carnival, and they have like a house of mirrors, and they have like a haunted little house thing, and of course he's in there when she gets scared, whatnot. And then they're all like, "We're going to go back to your apartment now." And she's like, "Oh, I don't think I should go back to another man's apartment." Just goes right up in, you know what I mean? Like, I shouldn't do this, but I'm going to do it anyway, And then he like says that he wants to show her something, and he takes her into the bedroom, which that was a missed opportunity. But
Penis. Let me show you my Wonka bar. My one-eyed Willy Wonka bar.
it's the everlasting gobstopper.
Oh, boy.
So he pulls out this 500-year-old music box, and he shows it to her, and she's like, "Wow, that's amazing." And he gives like the whole background on it. He's like, "Yeah, I gave this to my dead wife on our wedding day." And she's like, "Oh." He's like, "You have it." And she's like, "I can't take it." And he's like, "You can't refuse a gift." And then he's just like, "Okay." And she takes this music box, and it's like end scene. It's like, what the fuck is going on here? So
A flashback to all their memories.
As she listens to the music box.
There's little flashes with
Yeah.
the music box, but they haven't come full on yet. Yeah. So
And his charming words meant to deceive.
no, that's coming
that's
up.
coming.
That's coming up. So
That was one of Matt's favorite.
yeah, that was one of my favorite parts of the whole movie. So she goes home and she goes like into this hostel or whatever that she's living in, and her fiance is on the couch. So like he was only like a day behind Dracula. Like he had no money, no gypsies to take him on a carriage, no nothing.
No gargoyles.
Yeah, the gargoyles couldn't carry him or anything, you know, and he barely walked across the ice the next night, but he's just there now.
And
Like,
his leg is hurt from the grappling hook.
Yeah, his leg's hurt from the grappling hook, and he looks like he's about to die in this scene. You know, like they're all taking care of him and stuff like that. And she's like, "Oh, you know, are you okay? Okay?" And they're like, "You go get some rest." And I'm like, "What? Like this is her fiance, and he just got back, and he's like almost dying." And they're like, "Go to your room, woman." So she just goes up to her room, and the next thing you know, she's like, "Oh, I want to play the music box." Like, okay, don't worry about your fiance downstairs, you know? So she plays the music box. Dracula comes in through the window. They have a whole thing about go out the way you came, you know, and he's like, I'll jump off the balcony. And she's like, no, don't do that. Yeah. And like it goes back and forth and it's like, come on. Like, so he starts telling her the whole story about how he drinks blood and, you know, this and that. And she's like, oh, your sensual words that are meant to seduce me. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, like I could see if he said something that was like seductive or something like that, you know what I mean? But you're talking about like, I kill people because I don't love their blood, but I need it, you know, to survive. And I've done all these horrible things. Oh, seduce me, master. You know what I mean? It's just like, so then all of a sudden she's like,
That's going to be a clip.
She's like, make me yours. And he's like, oh no, I can't. She's like, no, seriously. He's like, okay. So he bites her and they fly off the balcony. But before I skipped one little part, before he was walking up to her, he like tells her about the potion. He tells her about love potion number 9 and he throws it down on the ground and kicks it into the fire.
He didn't use it on her.
He's like, I didn't use it on you though. You know, I've been using this potion for 400 years or whatever to try and find you, but I didn't use it on you. You know, I'm just, your memories are natural. You're actually the reincarnation. Do you ever feel like you're supposed to be from another time? Because she said, I feel like I'm from a different time. And he's like, do you ever feel like you're from a different time? I'm like, God damn, like this is so bad. So he kicks the thing into the fireplace. And then when they leave, the main character, the doctor, Christopher Waltz, he's like, I smell the perfume. And he's like, he's not like drawn to it like every other person that's ever smelled the perfume. He's just like, I smelled the perfume. Dracula's here. So they all go running upstairs. Like it's in the fireplace and it's spread throughout this building, but none of the other women are like running to this room to get to Dracula, like the nuns or anything like that.
That old lady.
Yeah, but still, shouldn't she have been seduced by all this?
She was sleeping.
All right. Well, all the guys in Paris, when he splashed the cologne, were all enthralled.
They were
with him as
dancing
well.
too.
So apparently, it only works when it wants to work. But
maybe not on doctors.
He's a priest, not a doctor. But
wasn't the doctor there too?
the doctor was there too. So was the husband. And it doesn't work on attorneys, doctors, or priests. Old women. This is love potion number 8. And number 9 was back at home.
Or frustrated nuns.
Off brand.
Yeah, he used all of number 9 on the nun tower. So.
This was a watered down version.
So they go running up into our room and they're like, oh, they're gone. And then they're like, well, I know somebody that can lead us to where they're at. So they go to find Maria. So Maria is like mounting her husband at this point. And this is the first time he's seen her. And she's just like, oh, I'm so happy. Aren't you happy I'm back? Aren't you happy I'm back? And she's like got him pushed down on the couch and she's mounting him. And then she's just about to bite him and they come through the door and she gets up and she's like, how dare you interrupt me? And then she does the Naruto run. Puts her hands back and her head down and like runs at him like super slow. And they're just like, no. Like smacked her. And then like they turn the camera and she's got Christopher Waltz and she's choking him. And the fiance grabs like this like saber off of the wall and he just cuts her head off. And then Christopher Waltz picks up this massive freaking metal cross off a mantle And he just like, it's blunt. And he just like jams it through her entire torso.
Yeah.
I was just like, well, okay. You know what I mean? Like, you're carrying around this little box with stakes and mallets and stuff, but go to the mantle and grab this huge decorative cross and stab her with that. So, that I thought that was funny. So anyway,
I thought they shot her.
huh? They did.
They did shoot her.
Yeah,
Oh,
when she did a
They did
Naruto
multiple
run,
things.
They
They
shot
shot
her, the cross, and then her head.
no, they shot her, they cut her head off and then did the cross.
Okay.
But she got right up after they shot her.
I'm just
Yeah,
gonna say
I
to
remember
the
that.
audience, he's trying to say Naruto. Naruto.
Whatever that little Japanese commercial.
Commercial.
Whatever the anime is.
Yes.
With the kid with the whiskers and the orange coat.
Kid with the whiskers.
He's not wrong.
So I just can't speak. So
Oh.
anyway, they're
What?
like, oh, wait, you were in the castle in Romania. Can you lead us there? And he's like, sure.
Well,
He's
he
all
wants to
better
go
now.
back.
Yeah, he's
he
just
don't
like,
care about
sure.
those gargoyles.
You know, I just killed a vampire. I'm walking pretty good now. You know, we'll go all the way back to Romania. I don't need medical attention whatsoever.
Nope.
So the next scene they cut to is Dracula at the castle, and he throws some money to the gypsies, and he's like, "I'm not going to need your assistance anymore." And they're like, "Okay," and they go to leave, and Dracula shuts the gate and goes upstairs, and the gypsies are immediately met by soldiers. There's an entire army surrounding this castle. Like, not only did they make it there as fast as Dracula did, you know, but they made it there with a freaking army. So somehow they managed to gain this entire military force with cannons that are set up across the water from the castle and all these other things. But so Dracula goes upstairs and he goes into the bedroom and he starts talking to Mina, and immediately, like, what was it? Was a cannonball that came through the top of the castle first?
That
I
sounds
think so,
right.
yes.
Yeah, so there's like a cannonball that blasts through the top of the castle, and he's like, he puts her in the corner. He's like, just stay here. He's like, I'll handle this. And he goes downstairs, and all the gargoyles are doing like Krav Maga. They're like taking people out, and they're like jumping up on their necks and like flipping them around and stuff like that. And it's so bad. You know, like they're doing little spin kicks on the floor. I think one of them is even doing like the crab walk thing, like at somebody, like, you know, like I'll choke you out. Like it was so bad. So, but they're afraid of bullets for some reason. So like when they started shooting, these stone creatures are like afraid of bullets. So like all of them run away. So Dracula comes out with a dagger and just takes everybody out. Like one by one, just starts taking everybody out with his dagger. And like at one point, I think he like ripped a sword off of somebody and was using a dagger and a sword and stuff like that. And so cool little fight scene. He goes through, mops everybody up, and he goes down to his crypt. And Christopher Waltz, priest character, and some other soldiers are down there. And Christopher Waltz just like leans behind a pillar and waits for Dracula to clear the room. And then he comes out with no weapons and stands in front of him. And he's like having this whole conversation about, I'm here as God's envoy.
I'm not here to kill you.
I'm not here to kill you. I'm here to heal you.
I'm here to save you.
Yeah, I'm here to save you. And Dracula's like, what? And he doesn't like kill him or anything. He's got a dagger to start. He's like, so you're the guy that's been hunting me all these years, huh? And it's like, you knew? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how do you know that? Like, how do you even know this story? So, Christopher Waltz basically just, you know, says, you know, if you loved her, then you wouldn't do this to her. You would set her free. And then he like neatly opens up his box and he pulls out a mallet and he pulls out this giant metal like stake with a big square head on the end of it. And he just goes walking right behind Dracula, like casual as shit. And Dracula goes upstairs and he kills a couple more guards right in front of, the bedroom where Mina's at. And then he goes into the bedroom and he sees Christopher Waltz's character walking to it and he slams the door on him. And Christopher Waltz is outside going, you know, if you really loved her, you would set her free. You wouldn't damn her forever. And Dracula's like, yeah. And he kisses her and he comes out and he's like, okay, yeah, just go ahead and do it before I change my mind. He just like opens himself up. Christopher Waltz takes a stake, hits him in the thing. And then he just takes his stake and mallet and he goes walking back downstairs to the crypt. He wipes off his stake. He puts it back in the box. And that's the end of that. Like Dracula gets drug into the bedroom. Mina pulls him up on the bed and he starts turning into dust. Well, at first he turned into
The old
Darth
guy.
Emperor Palpatine. He did too. He's all wrinkled. Ultimate power. He's just like laying there. So, and she's sitting over top of him and she's like, "Why'd you do this?" And he's like, "Because I love you." And he just turns into dust. And she's sitting there and she's like picking him up.
He ghosted
and
her.
going like this. Yeah. And her
After 400 years
Yeah.
of searching.
yeah, it immediately it's just done. He's like, "You know what? You're right. Go ahead and kill me." So her fiance walks up to the door and sees her like playing in the ashes and stuff like that. And she looks at him and he looks at her and he's like, "Fuck." And he just walks away. Christopher Waltz walks out of the crypt with his case, walks right past the doctor and he's like, "All's good." And he just walks off into the distance.
See ya.
Deadpan, no emotion, spent 30 something years of his life trying to get to this moment. And he's just like, and just walks away. And then the fini, movie's over. I'm like, what the fuck did we just watch? Like, what did I just sit through?
The best part is it just says Dracula's a love tale.
Yeah.
At the end.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck did we just watch?
Oh, I was so disappointed. I was just like,
I do think it's funny that like he spends all this time searching for her, blah, 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 finally finds her. And then it just took a few words of very like deadpan, like, "You shouldn't do this."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Okay,
this is bad.
like, that's fine. We're good.
And
we don't
then-
need to explore any of our love anymore or anything like that." And she's like 100% obsessed with him again.
Well, that's the end of our lovely Dracula movie for the secret movie. So secret movies are batting like very low numbers here recently. Like, I don't know. Like when we walked out, you were like, "I didn't think it was bad." I was like, "What the fuck did you just watch?" Like, I'm like, this movie was fucking horrible. Like,
I guess what wasn't bad about it is if you like Game of Thrones or any earlier
I love that
history
kind
movies.
of stuff.
I just liked how it looked. Like
Okay.
everything was per
The aesthetic.
period.
The aesthetic was
The
on point.
aesthetic,
Yeah,
their clothes, the castle, the decorations, their makeup, hair.
the one living room that was two different sets, the
Yeah, I mean,
dining room.
It's not that there was a lot of places,
and
but
his
it still looked
bedroom.
good.
So I mean,
There wasn't
they did not
anything
spend
that-
a shitload on set design.
Oh, let's Google that.
In US dollars, it was 52 million.
Okay, not very much. I bet you 25 million of that was Christopher Walt's salary.
Well, how famous is Caleb Landry Jones?
He's not.
Okay, well, it says featuring
Yeah.
Caleb Landry Jones and Christopher Waltz. So
Yeah, we looked up him. We looked up the two women to see
What
what
else
else
is
that
he
they,
in?
were in and stuff,
yeah.
and not a lot.
he's in
Wasn't he? Was
Dogman,
he OC or something?
Nitram,
Yeah,
Get
he's in
Out,
the OC.
X-Men, First Class from 2011.
Yeah, 50 million is not a big budget for a major motion picture. So I don't know.
I think the thing for me, I walked out and I was like, I looked at Matt and I was like, did they have this perfume thing in the original?
Yeah, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, like I had to like think
Dracula
back
just
and like,
attracted people. Like that was like one of the things about vampires is the sexual lore of the whole thing. you know
yeah,
what I
and I
mean?
think that that really, I had a hard time with that. I really did,
And it was like 25 minutes of the fucking movie.
it was
Yeah.
a lot.
I mean, it did give us the nun scene. So I mean, but they could have done that without the love potion. You know what I mean? They could have
Right.
just had him drawing people in like that. Which at first I thought that that's what was going on, and then I realized he got the vial in his hand. He's like,
Yeah. But I think if they really wanted that to be like the staple for this movie, then it needed to have some consistency. Because again, like it worked sometimes, it didn't work other times.
I don't.
Like
Maybe
it was just
because
kind
it
of
got
like,
caught on fire in the fireplace, it lost its potency, or they burned off the major chemical. I don't know. I'm not
Yeah,
a chemist. You know
let's
what I mean?
go
So
with that.
We'll go with that. We'll go with that. That's why it didn't affect anybody in the house. You know. But he's carrying around the potion the entire time. Like you can see it in his hand. Like almost pretty much the entire movie. He's like, but I didn't use it on you. You might have.
Right.
Well, don't you still have it on?
Yeah.
But you didn't use it on her?
No,
Okay.
it came off in the 2,193 miles that he had to travel in fucking 3 seconds to go from Romania to Paris. Like the travel in this movie drove me nuts. Like that's just one of those things that like, you know, I can't stand is when you're instantaneously somewhere else with no context.
Yeah. I think the thing is like, this is a love story. And really the moral of the love story is it's supposed to, you know, transcend time, but then one guy is going to be like, you don't really want this for her. And he's like, okay. And just is like, okay.
But he really loved her, so he wasn't going to damn her, you know?
Yeah.
After he brought back all these memories, made him into her ex-wife, you know, and then, you know, so she's got some. So
the moral of a love
she's
story.
She's got some psychiatry issues that she's going to have to deal with, like, you know.
The moral of the love story is it's dead.
I like the fact that everybody left her there. Like, you know, the whole movie, the whole reason they went there and everything like that was because they were going to save Mina, you know what I mean? And then they see her in the bed, like playing with dead person's ashes. And they're like, yeah, we're going to go. Everybody's like, peace out. You know, we're just going to leave you in this shot up fucking castle, you know, and deuces. Christopher Waltz having no emotion. He's just like, tink. And then he cleans off the spike and walks out. I'm like, what the fuck was that?
I did think it was very interesting that there was anything else that they could think of as he left to just say, all good now.
What did he
and
need
literally
the
just
spike
walk
in
away.
the mallet and stuff for? What did he need to go back and put it back in that box and carry it out for?
True. It's
He's
done.
just being a professional.
But I mean, you know, 30 something years of tracking this guy down.
In case
like,
you ever,
it's immediately
his
over.
Emotional support. Steak and mallet.
He did talk about it too, like 3 times about having to stake somebody in the heart, and he had this thing with him. Like
he was just waiting to use it. You know?
He was.
But he could have used it on Maria, you know, and no, he picked up the biggest blunt freaking heavy metal cross he could find, jams it through her entire torso. It's like, what a waste of a great set
Maybe
of
it
tits.
had Dracula's name on it.
Yikes.
Yikes. All right. So that was Dracula, A Love Tale.